and Engineering Management Society chapter of IEEE Delhi section, System, Man and Cybernetics Society chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Communication Society of IEEE Delhi section, Consultants Network Affinity Group of IEEE Delhi section, Life Member Affinity Group of IEEE Delhi section, Inter-Society Relations Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi section, Industry Relations and Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi section, with the Associations Computer Society of India, Institute of Information Technology Professionals, IITP, ISTE Delhi section, and IETE Delhi Center as technical collaborator, welcomes you all to the webinar on the topic Gamification in Education and Research. It is a moment of pride and honor to announce that we, with united hands, mark special contribution for the monumental occasion Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, an initiative to celebrate 75 years of glorious independence by organizing the thought-provoking sessions for a better future. This webinar is one such initiative for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Imagine a world where there is no longer a divide between what you have to do and what you want to do. That's the power of gamification. Gamification is the term used for the discipline concerned with embedding in machine this capability to motivate. More explicitly, gamification is part of persuasive system design, generally employing game design elements, for example, to improve user engagement or organizational productivity, to motivate for physical exercise or for following traffic rules, to reduce apathy for voting or for use of alternate energy, etc. The webinar aims to discuss various methods for gamification in general and also the ones specially oriented towards academic purposes of learning and research. I would first take this opportunity to welcome amongst us our distinguished panelists for the day. We are privileged to have amongst us a galaxy of experts. Firstly, I would like to request Professor M.N. Huda Sir, Director, Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management, BBI and Vice Chairperson, IEEE Delhi Section, to address the participants with his inspiring words. Please, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening, please.
At the outset, let me welcome my elder brother, fatherly figure, and a person who keeps inspiring. The valued speaker for today, Professor Manohar Lal sir.
Thank you.
The way he keeps learning and keeps accepting my request every month for a new topic with a challenge that he has to prepare the topic. That's a matter of great inspiration for all of us. Thank you so much, sir.
So kind of you.
I also take this opportunity to welcome my friends from various collaborating professional societies, particularly Mr. Daman, the chairperson of IEEE Computer Society, chapter of IEEE Delhi section, friends from other societies, chapters of IEEE, CSI, IET, and other professional societies, and above all, of course, the participants from various parts of the country and abroad. I take this opportunity to welcome you all in this 96th edition of the lecture series of IEEE, IET, BVICAM, weekly, evening, Saturday webinar series, which we started way back in May 2020 in the backdrop of COVID-19. This is 96th edition of that. The 4th edition from now will be the 100th edition, that is the sanitary edition. Dear friends, the purpose with which we started way back in May 2020 was basically to engage learners from all parts of the country and abroad and all walks of life. And that message is continued. And probably the topic today is the most apt topic concerned in the background with which it was started, that gamification in education. If I generalize this topic, that gamification in our day-to-day life, probably there will be no better topic than this to ensure that everyone is engaged, whatever we are doing in whichever field and discipline we are. And that's how I always say, because we all are teachers working with various institutions, many of the participants who are attending are also connected with teaching learning processes, and those who have joined corporates, they have also been at some moment of time in the academia, and still, despite working for corporates, they are a learner and they keep on learning many things. So from the learning point of view, I always say that a poor learner says to his or her teacher, if you tell me, I will forget. If you show me, I will remember. And if you involve me, engage me, then only I will learn. That is
Good.
the fundamental backdrop of today's topic. Gamification, of course, the great teachers in last many centuries, if you start reading their biographies, their stories, their many fictions, they have proved that gamification is one mechanism in which the learners are engaged in the best possible manner. Of course, in today's time, particularly in 21st century, applying or applying gamification right into the classroom has become more easy because of course, the technology and particularly the information and communication technology. So, my dear friends, the today's topic, which we talk about gamification in education, is how to make day-to-day teaching learning system as interesting as possible. But this will not be interesting just by saying interesting or just by copying some game and producing in some classroom, some environment. That's not possible. In order to do this, the people who are going to apply it have to be more creative, have to ensure the collaborativeness, and have to ensure that you need to understand the learner or the people with whom you are talking, with whom you are interacting, that what and in which way, which strategy and which kind of game and using which kind of technology will be more appealing to engage them. So the entire backdrop is how to keep learners engaging. All of us are learner today. For us, the resource person and the valued speaker is none other than Professor Manohar Lal sir, who will make
So
us
kind.
to understand how we teachers, how every one of us can keep people engaging, even if it is as good as and as applicable as to teachers. In the same way, it is in the similar manner applicable to even housewife. If they want to engage their kids at home, they need to have some application of games with some creativity, because the same game the kids may not like on the other day. So we have to have some creativity. That's the beauty of this topic. So thank you so much, everyone, having joined this program. Keep attending our program. The purpose is only dissemination of learning, dissemination of knowledge, keep you engaged, and that's how this engaging topic has been kept today. And I take leave. Will not take too much time because Manohar Lal sir is here. We'll give him enough time so that we can learn more. And with this note, that stay safe, stay healthy, stay vibrant, keep learning despite disruptions. That has been our slogan, that has been our USP since beginning. And with the same note, that फूलों की तरह फिर खिलेंगे हम, फूलों की तरह फिर खिलेंगे हम, और अगले सैटरडे एक नए टॉपिक के साथ फिर मिलेंगे हम. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Wish you all the
Thank
best. God bless you all. Over to you, Ayushi, please.
Thank you so much, sir, for always inspiring us. I would now like to welcome amongst us our expert speaker, Professor Manohar Lal, sir, with an e-booking. Professor Manohar Lal, sir, has teaching and research experience
Thank you.
of more
Thank
than
you.
48 years, having taught at various universities, including University of Delhi, JNU, and South Asian University. He has served as the Director, School of Computer and Information Sciences, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. He has also been the professor and head of Computer Science Department and Director, Computer Center at MD University, Rohtak, and at HP University, Shimla. A product of IIT Kanpur, IIT Delhi, and University of Delhi, he completed his MTech in Computer Science and Energy from IIT Kanpur and pursued his second PhD in Computer Science and Engineering from IIT Delhi. Earlier, he completed his master's and PhD programs in mathematics from University of Delhi. During 1982 to 83, he visited North Carolina State University for postdoctoral work. He has delivered more than 600 hours of lectures through educational channels including EduSet and Gyan Darshan of TV and Gyanvani of radio. Professor Lal sir has long research experience. Earlier, he worked in the area of error correcting codes, and currently he is working in the areas of theoretical computer science, formal methods in software engineering, and automation of reasoning. He is a member of a number of national and international academic and professional bodies. He is a reviewer for a number of national and international journals in mathematics, artificial intelligence, and e-learning. We are honored to have you here with us amongst us, sir. I welcome you to this session. I would now like you to please enlighten the house. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ayushi. I'm really thankful to all of you, including Professor Horda and Dr. Daman Sood as the panelists and other panelists and the participants who have kindly spared their very valuable time for this talk. I'm also thankful to the various organizations which are organizing these series of lectures, which are really very useful for the newcomers as well as the old people like us also. So because of the problem on the my laptop, there will be minor hiccups. I hope you'll bear. So Uttam Singh ji, keep the first slide first. Yeah. So friends, here you see a very wise cat who has all the knowledge and is aware of all the academic discipline. But she is also surprised to hear the word gamification. Gamification is not a very well-known subject even in the computing academic also. So anyway, we'll try to, I hope by the end of lecture, we will know some of the features of this new discipline. And I may tell, because I am from the academics and not from the industry, so my lecture will be mostly theoretical. So for that, some people in future may be invited who can give the application part. Of course, theoretically, I'll tell all these things. So friends, with this, we'll go to the next slide. Now, Uttam Singh, the next slide. So the talk can be divided into three main parts: fundamentals, applications, and critique of technology and implication. Next slide, please. Now we start with the fundamentals. The fundamentals have about 4 subsections. Conceptual clarification from the gamification point of view. Technically, play, game, serious game, and gamification are distinct concepts. So we'll deal with this. Then there is a concept of Homo sapien, the man, the wise, versus the man, the player. And century, this 21st century is the century of playfulness, not the truth seekers. And fourth subsection is game, definitions, characteristics, types, because now here game, the English word, here the technical word has some different senses. And finally, in this subsection, we'll discuss gamification, where you say, next slide, please. Uttam Singh, the next slide. Yeah, friends, we just have an idea of what is gamification. Here you are find some young girl is moving on the steps, and generally people exiting a subway generally take the escalator rather than the stairs. That changed in a town when they transformed staircases into set of black and white piano keys. And after the piano type steps were installed, the use of the staircase increased by 66%. So this is exactly what is gamification. How to make a task interesting. That is the basic idea of gamification, howsoever complex the task may be. But by ingenuity of the people, it can be converted into a pleasant experience. And that is the very essence of gamification. Next slide, please. Now, friends, first of all, we take the conceptual clarification. As I've just mentioned, play, game, serious game, and gamification are distinct from the technical point of view. Therefore, we'll go into the discussion of this one. Next slide, please. Now, on the right hand, Jane McGonigal, who is a leading expert in gamification and game design, she says, I'm not playful. I'm gameful. At the first time, I was also surprised what is the difference. But now, today in the lecture, about 8 to 10 slides are devoted only to this, that what is the difference between play and game. She says, I'm ranked one of the best gamers, but lowest as playful person. What is the difference? The difference is a playful state is characterized most quintessentially by the most being purposeless. Play is purposeless. It does not have a definite particular outcome in mind, whereas the game has a particular outcome in mind. Friends, next slide, please. Uttam Singh, next slide. Here you are seeing a couple of dogs on the right and a child is sliding downstairs and both are playing. They are not participating in a game. We'll find in a while what is the difference between game, but it is just a play. Okay. Again, next slide, please. Uttam Singh, yeah. Now here, on the left-hand side, a single child, and on the other, two girls and boys are there. Here the children are not driven by specific goals. And they are playing, they are not having a participants in game. Now you please, next slide. Uttam Singh ji, next slide. Friends, here the participants are participants in game. I have two pictures from the past. One is 1928 Amsterdam Olympics in which Dhyan Chand, the legendary Dhyan Chand, is scoring a goal, and on the right, Balbir Singh Senior is scoring a goal in 1952 to Helsinki. Here, they are participating in a game. So what is the difference? The specific goal. A playing game, in contrast, usually focuses on a particular outcome. Please note, particular outcome, a specific goal that we are trying to achieve, a rank we want to obtain. What are we are intending to achieve? A rank we want to obtain, a puzzle we want to solve, an opponent we want to defeat, a treasure we want to obtain. Either of these specific goal is in our mind. Minute by minute within a game, we are full of purpose, motivated by clear goals, and required to develop resilience in the face of obstacles. This goal orientation in the presence of obstacles is what makes a game truly a game and not just free play. I hope by this time you must have known the difference between a game and a play from the technical point of view. Uttam Singh, the next slide. Now, friends, the word, a particular, say, chess. Chess may not be always a game. It may be a play, etc. Game versus play is not a binary. Same sort of activities may be classified as play, game, and neither, but may be classified as business or even farce or scandal. Now here you are seeing on the left-hand side, a family member, even a child is laughing. So it is not a game. It is just a play. But on the right-hand side, bottom, you are finding two great grandmasters, Vishwanathan Anand of India and Vladimir Kramnik of Russia, who are involved in Chess World Championship born in 2008. They are participants in game. They are not just players here. Technical point of view. Next slide, please. Now, friends, what is the context? The play context. Well, the term Homo sapien, meaning man the wise, was coined in 1758 by father of modern biological classification, Carolus Linnaeus. He says, the 17th and 18th century are known as age of enlightenment, the age of reason, the age of rationality. But enlightenment including a range of ideas centered on the solidity of reason. For example, what is rationality or reasoning? The evidence of senses as the primary source of knowledge. Advanced ideals such as liberty, progress, tolerance, fraternity, constitutional government, and separation of religion from governance. And friends, These values are gradually being lost in the modern age. And it is surprising, in view of the fact that the science and technology have advanced to make us rational, but it is not happening, it is happening the other way. The 17th and 18th century rationality is being gradually lost in the current century. Next slide, please. It is astonishing, I repeat, it is astonishing and apparently paradoxical that with all the scientific and technological progress during 19th and 20th century, we are gradually becoming less prone to reason and evidence of senses for knowing truth. Truth is not our goal. Less tolerant of others' views, having more and more religious interference in the government, as you are seeing all over the world. Next slide, please. Fake news, trolling, and vulgar propaganda are dominating and are becoming gradually the current norms of our social lives. Sensible, rational people with cultured, liberal views who are concerned about the institutional framework, tolerance, social coherence, and helpful attitudes are turned now as unspeakable words, unprintable words, gangs. However, I'm proud of our young generation. Please listen to the last lines of this slide. However, I'm proud of our young generation who have shown courage to speak against such vulgar behavior and attacks. Uttam Singh ji, next slide. You are seeing our legendary Neeraj Chopra, and he snubbed such type of irrational people. I tell you the story. Neeraj Chopra took to Twitter after reported claims that the Pakistani athlete was trying to tamper with Chopra's javelin. People spread a rumor that in order that Neeraj Chopra may not perform well, Pakistani javelin thrower intentionally did it, but it was not so. And Neeraj said it in so many words. By twisting his comments from an interview and alluding to Pakistani javelin thrower Arshad Nasir, taking it on purpose during that, he said it was completely unwise and mischievous. And I'm really proud that people come out against the mischievous propaganda. Another one. Next slide, please. Uttam Singh. I'm again proud of Kohli that in Indo versus Pak, Pacer Mohammad Shami was subjected to social media abuse after India lost to Pakistan in a match of the ongoing T20 World Cup on October 24, 2021. But Virat Kohli came forward and he called the online abusers as a bunch of spineless people. On one hand, millions of people have become mad, but our young people have made us proud that they defended the right cause. Next slide, please. Fake news is false or misleading information which is dominating the social media nowadays. As news, it often has the aim of damaging the reputation of a person or entity or making money through advertising revenues. The prevalence of fake news has increased with the rise of social media, especially the Facebook news feed. It has become very difficult, rather impossible to know the truth. Well, this was foreseen by Dutch philosopher Johann Huizinga foresaw this state of affairs in 1938. He said, a happier age, 17th or 18th, which I am repeatedly calling the age of maximum rationality. Then ours once made bold to call our species the Homo sapiens, man the wise. We called ourselves, we are wise, we are rational, we are intent on knowing the truth. But in the course of time, Huizinga says, we have come to realize that we are not so reasonable as we were in the 18th century. Hence, it seems to me that perhaps on the same level as Homo sapien, man the wise, we are Homo ludens, man the players. We are more competitive. We are just playing the game to have one upmanship. That is the opinion of Huizinga, who is one of the Huizinga was one of the greatest scholars of play in the 20th century. Next slide, please. Sorry, this slide. This is the slide. His groundbreaking book, Homo Ludens, Man the Player, is a unique investigation of the role of play in human civilization. According to Huizinga, play and games are in fact at the very center of what makes us human. Play is older than the culture of human beings. I'll show in the next slide how it is older. It is an attempt to redefine and elevate the significance of play. This is not an age of truth seekers, but that of the players and gamers. Next slide, please. Friends, this Huizinga's statement, playfulness is not just human character, it is animal instinct. You human beings are also animals, and you see here that on the top, the two beer cups, and at the bottom, the dogs are playing. And it is instinct, it is inbuilt in every animal. We are playful by the very nature of being alive. Watch young dogs to see that all the essential elements, please note it, essential human play elements are available in the left hand bottom playing couple of the dogs. They invite one another, as we do in the sport, in the game play, by a certain ceremonious of attitude and gesture. We also show when we invite somebody to play. They keep to the rule. This is very, among the human beings, I think we are not keeping to the rules, but the animals still keep to the rule. For example, one of the dogs said to the other, you shall not bite or not bite hard. Your brothers here, they pretend to get terribly angry. They show they are very angry, but they are not actually. And these are the elements of the human playness also. Play goes beyond the confine and purely physical or purely biological activity. You see something about them. In play, there is something at play which transcends the immediate needs of life. We forget the routine of life, the worries of life when we play. And that is true about the animals also. Next slide. Well, now, we have talked a bit about play. Now, what is the game then? One of the experts of game design, Jesper Juhl, says a game is. Now the things become different. They are outcome based. That is, you should have initially some purported purpose in your mind, which has some definite specific outcome. So game is a rule-based system with a variable and quantifiable outcome, where different outcomes are assigned different values. So whatever you make the move will have some value. The player exerts efforts in order to influence the outcome. Everybody wants that the outcome should be in his or her favor. The player feels attached to the outcome. They give a lot of significance in the game to the outcome. The consequences of the activities are optional and negotiable. Sometimes a draw is agreed by the chess players as is there. They are negotiable. Next slide, Uttam Singh ji. Now, here. Now, what is the characteristic of gamer? Again, McNaughton, who is also a very well-known game designer, she tells some of the characteristics of game. First of all, creativity. Game is not played just in the routine way. Every time you have to think in a creative way. That is one of the very important characteristics of a gamer. Perseverance, that you must persist till the goal is achieved. Love of learning. One should learn every time. Every time you play the same game in a new time, you must learn something new to win the next time. Optimism. You must have hope that you'll win. And curiosity. Taking an interest in the ongoing experience for its own sake, exploring and discovering. So friends, look at have a harder look on it. These are the characteristics of a gamer. Now we are not talking of play, which is randomly done. We are more goal-oriented. These are the characteristics of a gamer. Friends, so far we have talked in terms of the everyday life. Now we will come to the digital. In the rest of the talk, we consider these and other concepts only digitally or in digital domain, that is software systems. For example, in the rest of the discussion, a game means only a digital game. In other words, a game is a software system. which has earlier stated characteristics of the game, which we have already discussed. Next slide, please. Uttam Singh ji. Oh, okay, thank you, thank you. Now, classification of digital games. The games have number of classes, but here we discuss only the 4 classes. First is the entertainment or video games. The second is serious games. We'll define each of them. Gamification is the third category, and last is the reward program, because we'll not talk of reward program. These are not mutually distinct classes. Particularly gamification and reward programs and serious games are intersecting with each other. So we have a discussion, because reward program is a part of the other 2 programs. A reward program is an incentive program in which some amount is paid to the user or player for performing some activities, which ultimately benefit the owner of the program also. So friends, there's entertainment purposes. Serious games. A serious game or applied game is understood as game purpose other than pure entertainment. The serious adjective refers to products used by industries like defense, education, scientific exploration, healthcare, emergency management, city planning, engineering, religion, and politics. What is the game? Why we don't call it purely software? Because the element of motivation is always there in games, that we motivate the participants to continue participating for the better. And gamification. Gamification are first of all serious games, that is the education, or there is some definite academic or industrial purpose, which emphasizes visceral, emotional aspect like motivation and engagement. So what is the major difference between gamification and serious game is that motivation, continued motivation in the participating should be made part of the design of gamification. If a software is called gamified one, the motivation should be given equal importance to the rest of the design elements. Next slide, please. Uttam Singh ji. For gamification, the subject matter of the top, game is the root concept. Of course, gamification is game also. We discuss, therefore, it needs to be, that game needs to be discussed little bit in more detail. Out of the possible definitions, game may be considered as a system. First of all, we must know it is a system, interacting element to keep the system in balance. What is that? That is the definition of system. How it is a system of the interacting elements. Players engage in abstract challenge. There is a real challenge in real life, but that is now here in the form of software, and every software is an abstraction of the real environment. So it is a first of all an abstract challenge defined by rules. Interactivity is very important, and feedback. Rules, interactivity, and feedback, and then results in quantifiable outcome. That is very important. It is not merely a play. It often elicits an emotional reaction. That is, we are emotionally involved. In the other games, in the other software, when a user uses it, he or she may not be emotionally involved, but in a game, one should be emotionally involved. Clarification of some of the terms which have been used, like abstract, interactivity, etc., and emotion, will be defined next. Next slide, please. Now, first slide, I am going to define game terms, which are spread over 7 slides. The first slide is here. As we know, a system is a group of interacting or interrelated elements that act according to a set of rules to form a unified whole. The system aspect of a game, I have said game is a system, is the fact that each part of the game impacts and is integrated with other parts of the game. For example, A score is related to the behaviors and activities of the player. Score is there. But how the score is generated? Through the activities of the player. The activities in turn are related to some strategy. The activities are not done at random. There is some strategy according to which the activities or the moves are made on chess. Scores are linked to actions, and actions are limited by rules. You can't have arbitrary actions. There are rules, prescribed rules, according to which only you have to make further moves or actions. So, friends, I have discussed here how game is a system. Next slide, please, Uttam Singh ji. Now, we discuss player a little bit technically. Now, here a player is not who plays. A player is a game participant here. The difference you must note. Games involve a person interacting with the game content or others. That is, it involves so far, not two software programs may participate, then it will not be that game. A human being who has emotions is so far essential for some software to be called a game. In the case of digital games, one of the hidden players is game software. That is, the other participant is game software, against whom the others play. Thus, in this case, each of the interacting persons and the game software is a player. Generally, the game software is the rival player for others. I hope you understand. Next slide, please. Uttam Singh ji. Now, I have used the term abstract. Though, of course, whole of computer science is about abstraction, but just for the sake of completeness, I am discussing it here. Games typically involve an abstraction of reality. That is, some aspects or features of the reality considered to be significant from the issues under consideration are taken, while a large number of others are neglected. For example, when issues relate to school education, a boy is abstracted as name, class, roll number, subject studied, marks obtained. But blood pressure, height, weight are not taken into consideration. However, if the boy falls ill, for diagnostic purposes, the boy is abstracted through the later attributes while neglecting the earlier ones. I hope the concept of abstraction should be clear. Similarly, for a digital game, which simulates some real aspect of life, for the purpose of the game, the reality is abstract through some aspects or feature of the real life. Uttam Singh ji, next. Now we said one of the very important aspects of games is challenge. Game challenge players to achieve goals and outcomes that are not simple or straightforward. For example, even a simple game like tic-tac-toe is a challenge when you play against another person who has equal knowledge of the game, despite the fact that tic-tac-toe is very simple game. A game becomes boring when the challenge no longer exists. Game remains a game only when the challenge is there. Then the next element of game is rules. The rules of a game define the game. As I've told, in the chess, you can't move arbitrarily your pawns or other pieces. They are rules. So the rules of the game, first of all, they tell sequence of the play. One player will play, then the next one play, and back, and so forth. So there is a sequence of play. And it must be definitely told that what is the winning state. For example, in the chess, if the king is given check and there is no move, then that will be the winning state for the rival. What is fair and what is not fair? There are rules for that also. So there are rules which are part or elements of a game. Next, interactivity. A game involves at least two parties. Interaction means that at any stage, one of the parties encounters a state. When you are watching a chess game, at a particular time when neither of the player is moving, and one of the player has the next turn, that player will watch it, what is the situation currently, and evaluating that side, the party makes a move which is considered by the party to be optimal. After the move, a new state in the game arises, and the other party makes a move depending So this explains the interactivity is a very essential part of the game. Next slide explains two more game elements, feedback and quantifiable outcome. Feedback. A hallmark of games is feedback they provide to players. Feedback to a player is available through the observation of the difference between the state before and the state afterwards. This is feedback. That before I moved the move, this was the situation, and after making the move, so this is the feedback. Quantifiable outcome. Games are designed so that winning state is concrete, as I've told in the case when the king is under attack. The result of, and can't move further. The results of a well-designed game is that player clearly knows when he or she has won or lost. There is no ambiguity. So quantifiable outcome is also an essential characteristic of game. There is score, level, and winning state that defines a clear outcome. This is one element that distinguishes a game from a play. Quantifiable outcome. Uttam Singh, the next emotional reaction. Games typically involve emotions, from the thrill of victory to the agony of defeat. A wide range of emotions enter into the game. At times, frustration, anger, sadness can be part of the game as well. Games, more than most human interactions, evoke strong emotions on level. You must have seen people playing cards or chess, etc., and they are deeply involved and concerned about the moves and all that. So, friends, next we come to our gamification, which is the topic of discussion for today. But gamification is a game first, so we discuss the characteristics of game, which are also part of the characteristics of gamification also. So before we go into the special characteristics of gamification, we discuss some of the definitions. Our definition for the purpose. So Gabe Chickerman, he is also one of the game designers well known. He defines gamification as the process of using game thinking mechanics to engage audience and solve problems. Friends, these green terms will be discussed. Amo Joe discusses gamification as using game techniques we'll discuss to make activities more engaging and fun. The consultancy firm Gartner Group defines gamification as a broad trend of employing game mechanics. I'll define to non-game environments such as innovation, marketing, training, employee performance, health, and social change. So we'll discuss these terms also. In view of these definitions, we have our own definition of gamification. Next slide, please. Yeah. Combining essential elements from these definitions for the purpose of the rest of the discussion, we define gamification as gamification is using game-based mechanics, aesthetics, and game thinking. We'll define all these three terms to engage people, motivate action, promote learning, and solve problems. So that is the definition for our purpose here, and we'll define game-based mechanics, aesthetics, and game thinking. Next. Friends, what is game-based? Next slide. Yeah. Game-based. First of all, gamification about creating and developing special type of digital solution. It is not ordinary solution, it is game, which have game characteristics, in which what is meant, I am defining what is meant by game-based. So it is a digital solution in which learners, players, consumers, employees engage in an abstract challenge. I have already told abstract challenge. Defined by rules, interactivity, and feedback. We have discussed. And the feedback results in quantifiable outcomes, where the outcome ideally elicits an emotional reaction. This is very important. And it is digital solution in which people want to invest brain, share, time, and energy. So this is what is meant by game-based. Gamification is game-based activity. Then the second is game mechanics. What do you mean? Next slide. Yeah. It is 2x4. Yes. The mechanics of playing a game includes levels. We'll discuss. levels, earning badges, point systems, scores, leaderboards, and time constraints. We'll discuss. These are elements that are used in many games. Mechanics alone are not sufficient, please, to turn a boring experience into game-like engaging experience, but they are crucial building blocks used during gamification process. Now, gamification aesthetics, which is also a gamification element. For gamified solution to be successful, it is essential that the look and feel in the user interface be appealing. It must be pleasing. For this purpose, for other software solutions, Outlook may not be that appealing, but here it must be. For this purpose, aesthetic amalgamation of media, audio, video, and graphic elements is required. Game thinking. It is also another essential component of gamification. Gaming is a social activity, the intrinsic elements of which include competition, cooperation, exploration, and storytelling. So, game thinking involves any software solution which is designed with the purpose of competition, with the purpose of cooperation, with the purpose of exploration, with the purpose of sort of storytelling, is game thinking, which is a part of gamification. Game thinking means how to include these socializing elements in apparently known social activities like running or going for a long walk. A gamified solution for running. I'm explaining game thinking. How competition, cooperation, exploration, and storytelling can be involved in the activity of running jointly in a group. First of all, it may provide an environment in which the friends who are running together compete against each other, offer encouragement in the cooperative manner, narrate instances while running of extraordinary running, say of 1,000 miles, and they may even tell stories of running for escaping zombies or say bhoot pret or whatever is there. So friends, when this sort of software is developed which encourages the friends to do all these things, then it becomes a gamified solution. Well, these are the summary of whatever I've said. A gamified solution includes user types, motivation, rewards, and game elements. For example, game elements may be challenges, levels, leaderboards. We will discuss all these things. So this is the summary, a slide of whatever we have said earlier. Next slide, please. Why gamification? The question arises. So gamification is software should be designed for gamification purpose in order to keep engaged and keep motivating are perhaps the two most important features which distinguish gamification from the rest of the serious games. Engagement of an individual is primary focus. People should continue being involved in the activity for which gamification has been designed, developed. Motivation is a process that energizes and gives direction, purpose, or meaning to the behavior and action. For motivating individuals and keeping them motivated, challenge must not be too hard and too simple. These are some of the tricks for or the advices for the game designers, that it should not be the challenges should not be either too hard or too. Rather, driving participation, a core element in gamification in an action or activity, should be the focus. So this is the first. Why gamification? Promote learning. It is not for just for the fun only. This is for serious businesses also of learning. Gamification can be used to promote learning because many of the elements of gamifications are based on education psychology and are techniques that designers of instruction, teachers, and professors have been using for years. So many of the techniques have been learned from good teachers, and those have been embedded in general gamification software. Items such as assigning points to activities, presenting corrective feedback, encouraging collaboration or projects have been the staples of many educational practitioners which have been tried to be embedded in gamification software. The difference is that gamification provides another layer of interest and a new way of weaving together those elements into an engaging game space that both motivates and educates learners. Solving problems. Gamification, yes, please. Gamification has a high potential to help solve problems. In view of the cooperative nature of games, can focus more than one individual on solving it. It involves, in my previous lecture, I've told how hundreds and hundreds of people have been participating in some of the softwares and solving difficult problems, particularly from mathematics. And competitive nature of games encourages many to do their best to accomplish the goal of winning. So this is the rationale behind gamification or developing gamification software. Now, remarks by experts. What experts say, we should look at that also. Given that game design is the practice of creating enjoyable interaction, it stands to reason that it holds something of interest to any domain where interaction is designed and the goal is to make it more enjoyable. So no domain human interaction is left which cannot be gamified. This is what one of the experts says. But please, don't misunderstand what is gamification from the previous part of the lecture. We need to be clear about gamification cannot do. Gamification is not merely about slapping some badges as on your website. A more thoughtful approach is required. Gamification cannot fix business core problems. Bad products or poor products cannot be gamified to be sold. No, it is Zickerman who is one of the leading game designers. Now, glimpses of the history of gamification. Every academic discipline has some history, and so has gamification, and you'll be surprised. Gamification has been practiced for thousands of years. The term gamification was coined in 2010 by British consultant Nick Pelling for applying game-like accelerated user interface design to make transactions on electronic devices like ATM vending machine both enjoyable and last fast. So the term was coined in 2002 by Nick Pelling. The first modern gamification platform, Punchball, was designed 2005 by Rajat Pahadia of USA for boosting engagement on websites by adding a layer of game mechanics. Next slide, please. However, the term and the idea or concept of gamification, not the term was came, but the idea became quite well known since launching in 2009 of an app. That is the idea, it became popular only afterwards by the app Foursquare, a social mobile location-based service allowing user to search for and discover new places. So what Foursquare allows user to check in at various hotels, etc., or any other tourist places, see check-ins of the members of their social graph, and browse venue suggestions based on check-in data. These elements of gamification became popular for the first time, or rather through the Foursquare in 2009. Next slide, please. Glimpses in the history. Third, to motivate check-in, Foursquare implemented a series of game-like design. Points. Every time a user checks in, she earns a variable amount of points depending on factors such as novelty, the first check-in to a new location, or distance, that is check-in far away. So now the points started being ours. Then the next stage is when you accumulate a fixed pre-assigned number of points, you get badges. So badges, certain types or combination badges, virtual marks of achievement, a higher level of achievement. Then the leaderboards, still higher achievement indicator. Points are compared with members of one social graph on a weekly point leaderboards, aiming to spur competition between the users. And the next is still mayorship. Those users who have checked in the most, they get the mayorship, which again can spur. So the basic purpose is to motivate people through the competition and otherwise also through rewards also. So rewards, business owners of a location may offer location-specific reward. So friends, these are some of the technical points for motivating points, based leaderboards, mayorship, all that. Friends, the concept or the idea, not the gamification itself, but the idea is quite old. The Boy Scout movement, which was founded in 1908 to 10, initiated the use of game elements, badges. Badges started being awarded for the Boy Scouts from 1908 onwards. So the idea, not the term, is quite old. It is since at least 908 in modern times. Next slide, please. Now, even earlier, an example of serious game, if not exactly of gamification. Chaturanga, a game invented between 5th and 7th century in India, and forebearer of the modern chess, used the armies of India as design model. It may be the first game that used pieces to serve as military figures on a fictional battlefield. The pieces represented foot soldiers, elephants, chariots, which moved about on a playing board, much like the modern chessboard. So, friends, the idea of abstraction and modeling a real life situation is still older. So, friends, now we go to the next slide, Uttam Singh ji. Now, academic linkages. No academic discipline exists in isolation. It is connected to a number of, rather most of, other academic disciplines. We have already encountered instances of linkages of gamification with the history, culture, and social media. Next, we consider a partial list of academic disciplines with which gamification directly interacts. Friends, these are there. These are the disciplines. Every discipline involves elements of gamification, requires at least for the purpose of motivation for doing particularly research and all that. Next slide, please. Uttam Singh ji. Next slide. Yeah. So friends, we have done some theoretical background definitions of games and gamification. Now we'll come to some applications. So we'll discuss 4 areas where gamification has been practiced. One is marketing, the second, there are many areas, I'm sorry, but out of those we are discussing only 4 areas here because of the lack of time and space. One is marketing, then health and wellness, enterprise space and education research, which is the theme of our or the part of our title of the lecture. So first of all, application domains. According to the proponents of gamifications, game and game design elements are increasingly the hardest to improve. What is the from productivity to marketing, gamification of games are used. From learning to user experience, from creativity to civic engagement and governance, and for health and happiness. These applications overwhelmingly use some variations of points, badges, leaderboards, and model of Foursquare. We briefly mention its application to the 4 domains which I have mentioned already. Uttam Singh ji, 2 by 10. Next slide, 2 by 10. Yes. One finds digital loyalty programs. I am talking of application of gamification to marketing. How gamification is involved in marketing. One finds digital loyalty programs built around customer engagement, checking into a store, sharing or liking posts and products of the brands on social media. These are given some points. Examples are platforms like Lockers, Get Glue, and Buffalo Wild Wings in-store mobile phone exchange, which prompts user to, for example, check in at the store or take a picture of the food and share it online to earn points redeemable for drinks and food. So how marketing is using the ideas of gamification? Just a person visits a particular store, he gets some point. If he takes a photograph and puts on the social, he or she gets more points and so on and so forth. Another common form is the new breed of advertising games like Heineken star player while watching a soccer match on television. Players of the application can bet on how certain game situations, such as a free kick, will be resolved or whether a goal will be shortly occur or not. That is, in advance, they ask the opinion of the people, and that way they make the users participants in the game. So these are some of the tactics which are used for marketing, which are elements of gamification. Next, health and wellness. How gamification is involved. Gamification chiefly interacts with the quantifiable self, movement of individuals seeking self-improvement through self-tracking and analysis of their behavior, body states and that. One of the software, gamification software is Nike Plus, now which has been renamed as Nike Full Band. Is the most publicized example, which uses a suite of track devices and software that records everyday exertions and translates it into a universal score complete with personal goal setting and social competition. A large number of applications combine self-tracking with goal setting and virtual achievements for individual fitness such as runner or fitocracy and for task management such as core wars and epic win. So you can see how the sports, health and wellness softwares have involved gamification. Zombie run. In this mobile running application, the player is motivated to run physically in order to escape fictional zombies. So, friends, these are some of the applications of gamification in health and wellness. Now we come into the enterprise application. Yes, Uttam Singh ji, it is 4 by 10. Many companies have been experimenting with gamification for training, innovation, and employee engagement. In training, well-known DO Leadership Academy is one of the well-known examples using point scores, missions, achievements, and leaderboards to its online video and exercise leadership training programs. So you can see gamification elements are involved in training softwares. Regarding innovation, there are a number of platforms for employees and consumer online idea competitions. For example, 2011 Volkswagen People's Car Project invited Chinese consumers to submit and vote on the concepts of a future automobile using gamification concept of teams, score, leaderboards, and batches. In terms of employee engagement, gamification platform vendors use software suites to track and motivate employee performance through scoreboard, goal setting, leaderboards, specifically in sales and customer services. The popular customer relationship management platform Salesforce alone currently counts 12 different gamification applications. So friends, we have seen how gamification elements are involved in enterprise. And finally, the last one, in education research. There are 6 slides under this. Use of gamification in education and research is quite an active area, rather one of the most active areas. A number of platforms, sites, and research publications have appeared during the previous decade, particularly since 2014. In this respect, first of all, we enumerate a couple of well-known organization platforms for delivery of gamified learning. Then we mention some sites devoted to gamification in teaching and research. And finally, we mention some of the current relevant research publications. So here we are coming towards more deeply in educational aspects of gamification. So friends, gamification has been adopted chiefly among practitioners and researchers interested in learning analytics, new forms of assessment, and self-directed, self-motivated online learning, easy as found in massive MOOCs. MOOCs involves a number of gamification elements in order to motivate the learners. One highly influential example is Khan Academy, a website that offers videos and exercises around basic educational topics where user can earn points and badges. The Quest to Learn, it is another program. It is not just Quest to Learn, it is the title also. The Quest to Learn schools restructure the entire school life and curriculum in the image of games. It is an American enterprise. Now, 7th by 10 at Rochester Institute of Technology, undergraduate students can engage with Just Press Play, an achievement system for non-curricular activities such as visiting a professor in a room. Microsoft Office Labs released in 2010 Ribbon Hero. You can use it. Ribbon Hero, an add-on that taught users the basics of Microsoft Office suite with a game interface of challenges, achievements, and scores layered into Microsoft Office software itself. Next slide, please. Research. Now we come to some aspects of research and gamification. Research in any field requires creativity and motivation. Friends, it is not merely creativity which keeps a researcher on and to find something new. Motivation is very important, and where the role of gamification is there for innovative ideas to emerge. On the other hand, characteristics of gamification which distinguish it from the serious games include keeping the users or participants engaged and motivated. Thus, gamification, when properly incorporated in research routine activities, can enhance quality of research output. As mentioned earlier also, there is vigorous research relating to gamification. To have a glimpse in the world of use of gamification in research, only a couple of relevant research papers are quoted here. Next slide, Uttam Singh ji. So friends, I am mentioning about 5 research papers which deal with role of gamification in research activities, not research in gamification, but research in any academic discipline, how gamification is involved. So these are 5 paper, 3 on this slide. First is Gamification and Research Partnership for Innovation by Kristina. It is published in 2015. Another one is Developing a Theory of Gamified Learning, Linking Serious Games and Gamification. This is also, I think, 2015 research paper. And the Maturing of Gamification Research. This is 2017 research paper. Then 2 more papers are there. Gamification Education, what is known, what is believed, and what remains uncertain, a critical view. So this actually reveals all a major part of the research about research involving gamification, where research may be in any domain, not necessarily in gamification. And the last paper is Shift to Gamification in Education, a review on dominant issues. So these are, friends, 5 papers. I think these will be, the slides will be, or the lecture will be available. You can download and read these papers. Now, platform support. As I mentioned earlier also, Microsoft has released Windows 11 on October 5, 2021, you know. Claims by Microsoft. Windows 11 takes gaming to a whole new level with graphic capabilities that rival. So this is the platform. You can use Windows 11 for the purpose of gamification also. Friends, now we come to the last section, critique of technology. Friends, we have discussed in our previous lectures also that technology is boon and a curse both. It has all positive and negative aspects. And if it is not used properly, it can be quite harmful, but otherwise it may be very useful also. Here we will discuss, friends, among the academics or the intelligentsia, there are 2 aspects, 2 schools rather. One school thinks that all technology, whatever it may be, must be useful for the society. irrespective, it can't be harmful. This school is called utopian school or utopian view, but there is another school which is just opposite of this one, and that school is called dystopian. So we'll look into the views of these two schools about the role of gamification in gamification technology in improving our life, or it may be a curse also. We look at both the aspects. Okay. So next slide, please. So some observations, general observations. Every technology, including gamification, has beneficial as well as potentially detrimental effects vis-a-vis life in general and humanity in particular. More advanced or subtle the technology, the more is the degree of potential for both its beneficial and the degree increases with the advanced technology. More advanced the technology, more may be the benefits and more may be the harmful consequences also if we are not careful. In view of the above, every technology, including gamification, has its proponent, which I've already told, which are utilitarians or utopian, and the other is so we'll look at their opinion in the coming slides. First of all, then we consider general observation about the technology, then we'll come to the gamification, and we have already seen these slides, so I'll go it hurriedly. A world has become the beneficial aspects, world has become a global village through the phones and internet, availability of knowledge, money, tickets, reservation at the click of a button, medical expertise through telemedicine and telesurgery. These are well-known beneficial effects to the society of the advanced technology. Similarly, you could see who are gifted with other properties, are gifted by nature in other senses, but otherwise they are not the normal ones. They are made capable of using all the current, they can live intellectual life equally as to the others because of the technology. Similarly, this is there. So, and you know Stephen Hawking, who was paralyzed and could not move any limb below his neck, he was able to create the best sellers like Time because of the advanced technology. Otherwise, he could not speak or his hands could not move. So these are some of the beneficial aspects of this one. So friends, the term utopia refers to an ideal place in which every technology or everything is perfect. So some people think that whatever may be the technology, it must be beneficial. And Ronald Reagan was one of the best advertiser for this. He said the goliath of totalitarianism, that is communism, etc., will be brought down by devil microchip. That is, microchip is the technology. So utopian view of technology. Now, just in one or two slides, I summarize what is their view, who think that technology is always beneficial. Brad Allenby is also one of the foremost utopian. In support of his utopian view, quotes the following. In the early days of railroads, for example, there was a widespread belief that traveling at the hitherto unimaginable speed of 25 miles per hour, we are talking in 1828, would kill the passengers, in part because such technology was against the obvious will of the God. He's saying that how technology has been opposed in the past, which later on proved to be very beneficial. An Ohio school board put in 1928, if God had designed that his intelligent creatures should travel at the frightful speed of 15 miles an hour by the steam, he would have foretold it through his holy prophets. It is a device of Satan to lead immortal souls down to hell. So, friends, Allenby quotes this and he justified that such views, negative views, have been there in the past, and therefore we need not be afraid of the advancement of technology. Utopian views, according to Allenby, technology is inevitably good, and there have always been and there will always be opposition to technological advancement as the Ohio school. However, I feel, now I am talking as a Professor Manohar Lal, this time the technology is too powerful, too extensive, it is global, too intensive, and too subtle to be observable to the collective human senses and wisdom. Earlier technologies were sensible to the human senses and wisdom. Hence, if we are not vigilant enough, there will be irretrievable damage to the humanity. And this is a sort of warning and as well a sort of advice also. Next, we consider cases in which many leading thinkers, including Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates, view technology detrimental to the future. You see all these three people, Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates, all three got name and fame only through technology, but they feel that in the long run, the technology may be detrimental to the humanity, and these are their views. And the last line is in the red, is it possible to have, they are saying, is it possible to have non-AI treaty like on the lines of non-proliferation treaty for nuclear weapon? Here AI is taken as, because AI is the leading, you can see whatever is technology, software technology are developed, they essentially involve AI. So I repeat their words. Is it possible to have non-AI treaty like on the lines of non-proliferation treaty for nuclear weapons? They are so apprehensive. Even Stephen Hawking was there. So anyway, now we will mention a few of the unintended harmful consequences of the technology first, and then of the gamification. Feared. History is full of such instances. Friends, you know, automobile generated pollution, ghettos, mega-sized cities, industrial revolution in general, vanishing of forests of various species, fauna. Sparrows almost vanish in just a couple of years in Delhi. And you know the Bhopal gas accident. Punjab, known for green revolution, is now known for cancer belt. So friends, these are unintended consequences of technology. Next slide, please. Media technology. Electronic terrorists, I've already talked about it. And bounces again affecting on a scale of millions. A few years back, thousands of persons belonging to Northeast fled from Bengaluru on receipt of threatening email. Tweet armies. We shut down any reasonable voice by making thousands of tweets against a reasonable voice. Unethical marketing. This is really very important. Steve Jobs, who is father of one of the best-selling mobiles, in a recorded interview has said that he did not allow any of his three children's use of iPod, which he designed and developed and manufactured. He did not allow any of his three children use of iPod more than 3 hours a week, and that also under his supervision. But you see, he so unabashedly marketed the same to be used by children of others. So these are some of the issues which are really serious to be considered. And why all of this is happening? Next slide, yes. That on the internet, people become very careless, carefree. They can abuse anybody because they know that their identity cannot be revealed. So this is, next slide, please. Next slide. Anonymity provided by internet has increased manifold irresponsible behavior because of safety cover provided by the internet. Saying and doing any damn thing which otherwise nobody dares say or do. Human beings distinguish themselves from the other animals in being more responsible, but that responsibility is being targeted or being lost to the humanity because of irresponsible behavior of a very small fraction of the society. Now, again, this technology is monopolization. A few companies, half a dozen companies, have more than 95% of the global business, increasing economic disparity. By 2020, the top 1% of the Americans possess almost twice as much wealth as the bottom 90%, and it will further worsen. Most worrying, massive unemployment affecting particularly the white-collar jobs of professionals, engineers, doctors, etc., is maybe vanished. K.F. Lee, he's a technologist and a writer also. The chasms in wealth and class can morph into something much deeper. Economic divisions that tear at the fabric of our society and challenge our sense of human dignity. That situation is worsening in these respects. Now we come to gamification. One or two more slides are there. As gamification as a technology has its proponents, having utopian view of the technology emphasizing only its beneficial aspect. These utopians include Lineman, McConnell, Reeves, Rangaswamy, Shirke, and Williams, and business consultancies like Gartner. All of them say gamification is only for the beneficial aspects of the humanity. They consider that informational feedback and incentive aspects of games form basis for reinforcement learning. That is, it encourages learning, coordinating the collective action of self-interest and hence designing perfect markets and behavior change. This is the claim of these utopians. Utopian views, according to them, gamification will revolutionize all areas of society and economy, motivating us as consumers to cooperate, co-create. That is, now even consumers are involved in creating, as I gave the example of China, that a car design in which the people were invited to give their opinion how the new car should be designed. So consumers to co-create, to buy and to produce by word of mouth. Employees to engage in the workplace, keep them motivated. Citizens to participate in politics and collective problem solve, and individuals to learn, live healthy, and excel. So utopians feel that everything good will come out of the gamification. Now, let us look at the dystopian views. I am impartial. I am just putting the opinions of the two sides. That is my duty as an academic. Gamification as a technology has its critics having dystopian view of technology, emphasizing only its detrimental aspect. My feeling as it can be good and it may be harmful also, provided we are cautious. These dystopians include scholars like Arseth, Bogas, Zool, Robertson, Ray. They are all gamification experts. Gamification has been met predominantly with skepticism, if not hostility, particularly by academic community. Academic community is mostly against it. And game designers themselves. According to them, gamification is merely commodifying. Please, gamification is merely commodifying games, which are currently culturally admired, into an easily saleable workshop format for turnkey technology. It is marketing bullshit. One of them uses it, I think it is Bogus who calls it marketing bullshit, invented by technical giants in the form of video games for the use in the grey, hopeless wasteland of big business. So friends, this is the dystopian view of gamification. Through the veneer of playful self-realization, dystopians say gamification is a ploy for exploitation of digital labor, which they don't call, they call play labor. And that as you more play, they earn more. As one of the critics also called play bore or play bore, cheap labor, as you play, the big companies earn. In an extension of click labor or clickbore or clickbore used by Amazon marks of this, the more you click, the more you spend your time and energy, the more these digital giants earn at your cost, at your labor. You are playing, wasting your time or using your time, and they are earning. This is the view of the dystopians. Many view it even as dangerous in the sense gamification is another wave of attempts at colonizing our minds. Please note, colonizing our minds at massive, rather at total humanities level. They claim, and it sometimes appears like that also. Only this time from marketer, you don't have any free time. All the time you are bombarded with the views of some particular people and all that. Hardly there is time to think independently. And they are justified in this. They are attempting to colonize our minds at massive, rather at total humanities level. Through the bait of pleasure, and appearances of gamefulness. Our future overlords, that is Roberts, will control our every step and action with a seamless, fine-tuned, pervasive mess of incentive system. We'll wake one day to find that our computers have become the game masters and we the pawns in one big dream park that is not just a game anymore. According to these scholars, gamification is another form of Frankenstein in algorithm, who is already in the process of becoming our master, and we are the slaves. Please, at this point, I may say I have put 2 points of view, one utopian and one dystopian. I am just impartial, but it is our duty to know the opinions of both the sides. And what finally dystopian view says, the last slide is worth watching, not last slide of dystopian views. Then there are 3 more slides, I think. So dystopians claim that in the very near future, the situation is going to be like this. We domesticated or enslaved the animals, and the robot will enslave. But again, I'm telling you, these are the views of the dystopians, not by me. I have put 2 views before you, and both have weight. They are not without reason or rationality. We have to think that how the technology should be advanced. Friends, concluding remarks. The main characteristic of gamification, which distinguishes it from the other earlier technologies, is that it emphasizes a visceral or emotional human aspect. Earlier softwares were mostly involving the rationality of human beings. Emotional aspect were not there, but we are emotional beings. Unless we are emotionally involved, we can't give our best. So this new type of software attempts to involve us emotionally. That is the difference between gamification software and earlier software, concerned with equipping us with capability of enjoying while solving difficult problems by keeping us engaged and motivated. Only future will tell how much gamification will be successful in this respect. But the main difference is emotional involvement. However, history of technology in general, IT technology in particular, informs us that these have impacted humanity drastically, alas, not beneficially only, but detrimentally also. And more advanced technology, the more is the potential for its detrimental aspect. Here comes the role of academician. Here comes the role of academician. In a situation where we have known the views of dystopian and utopians, here comes the role of academician to continually evaluate the developments in technology, that is in gamification, and watch for and guard against its possible detrimental impacts on humanity, and inform the society and those who matter about its potentially harmful effects. I personally feel that it is quite useful also, but it can be harmful, and we have to watch the developments as academician, which is our role in the society. We must watch the development of technology, and wherever we feel that it may be harmful, we should warn the society about the potential harmful effects of this one. Friends, these are some of the references. Well, I am a bit hard of hearing, and Uttam Singh ji, now you may take the slides off. So with this, I invite I think.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for the enlightening deliberation. I am sure that this insightful session would have highlighted past.
Dr. Ayushi Chopra,
Yes, sir.
I'm having some difficulty. Just one minute. Please. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
I first of all would like to thank you for the enlightening deliberation. And
Thank
now,
you.
with your permission, I would like to take up the questions that I have received.
Yeah, yeah. Please, please. And you will repeat because it is not visible to me.
Sure, sir, sure.
Okay.
First question we have is gamified learning a game changer in the education sector? I repeat, is gamified learning a game changer in the education sector?
Yeah, one thing is there that I being from IGNO and where this technological delivery of learning is the most important aspect. Well, what I mean to say that in the beginning, whenever new technology comes, definitely there are problems and some people suffer also. But gradually, with the increasing number of people involved and increasing efforts and investment of money, the things are gradually improving. Now, if you see, compare a sort of school in Delhi, elitist school in Delhi, it may not be comparable. But you see the facility is available in the far corner of Lahul, Spiti and Kinnor in Himachal and all that. And I feel now those people who are in far-flung areas, they are definitely having better facilities. So what I want to say, that gamification has not reached the ultimate stage. However, because of the investment, intellectual, financial, and all other, the things are improving. And definitely, I hope over the period of time, the things will become quite, you can say, beneficial for the larger masses. Here, the democracy of literacy that is spreading the literacy across the world in far-flung areas, etc. I think technology in general and gamification is creating an environment which is improving day by day. Hello.
Another question I have, how far
Yeah.
do you think that gamification is secured and matching the recent trends?
Well, the question is this one, that here the human, you can say, upmanship. No technology, there are two aspects. One is the unintended consequences. The other is the intended consequence to make money and all that. So what here is not the technology in itself. It is the human aspect, though emotion and all that, but even 1% of the humanity may be self, who are totally self-centered, maybe 1% or so. And they will not leave any stone unturned to make money for their selfish ends. So what, in summary, I want to say is that definitely in every, even you see, there is a fake news and all that.
Yeah.
The social media was not meant for that. In my previous lecture, I told Tim Berners-Lee, the father of World Wide Web, he is so benevolent and so nice that without his contribution, no Zuckerberg or Bill Gates would have been there. So what I mean to say, technology in most of the cases is designed for the purpose of upliftment or the general social life. But definitely there are elements like fake news spreaders and all that. So what I mean to say, you cannot say that it will be always beneficial, but I think over the period of time, as we are plugging holes in the social media, there are possibilities of plugging holes in gamification technology also, but still the human element may go on spoiling some things. So this is my personal opinion in this respect.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I would
Thank you.
now like to request Professor M.N. Hadda, sir, to please share the certificate to Professor Manohar Lal, sir, as a token of remembrance.
Thank you so much, Manor Lal sir. As usual,
Thank you.
the
Uh,
topic,
very, So
The
nice.
topic has very
Grateful.
has
This
been
is really
explained in a most simplifying manner.
it is
And
a
this
journey
certificate
of
is not for the purpose of certification. Yes, sir.
so kind
This is,
of you.
this is just for the remembrance.
The participants and you yourself and other panelists are really source of motivation at this age for me. I continue working because of you people remember me.
Thank you so
you.
much, sir.
So kind.
Yeah.
So
Now
with
I
this,
would like to request to present a memento to Professor Manohar Lal sir as a gratitude from BBI Camp family. Sir, please
thank
accept.
you. So kind of you. I hope I am visible.
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
sir.
It
Yes,
is
sir.
great. It is a really great asset for me. I always present. So kind of. Thank you very much.